watching the Couch Rider Raven Report. Let's go. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. Couch Rider. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. We gon' ride out. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. Couch Rider. We gon' ride out.
For some of you Twitter gangsters, this is just a hobby, original sports perspective. You can't stop me. Couch Rider Report, it's reflective. Please respect it. You will get checked, and your knowledge will be tested. I ain't the coldest Raven, but this is my show. Shout out to the Barry White rap for the beat, though. Welcome back to the home of original sports perspective from our couch to yours. This is your Couch Rider Raven Sandy. Thanks for tuning in, folks. You could be anywhere in the world, but you are here with me. So please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. All right. We got folks in the room already. They hot. They ready to go. But before we get into things, like I said, it's going to be a short show, but I want to make sure we give a shout out to my main man, Cameroon. He's not on the show tonight because he's probably toasting the town right now because it is his birthday. This man is probably 29 for probably the fifth or sixth time. He's out there doing this thing. Y'all give a shout out to the Barry White of rap and let him know in his Instagram inbox. I think you might be able to find him on Twitter. But yeah, give Cameroon a shout out. Let him know you care for him, you love him, you miss him, and you need to come on back to the show. Before we start putting out the warning signs. All right, so tonight we're going to get into the most anticipated matchups of the 2025 season. The schedule was released. I felt like we were disrespected, but we'll talk about that in just a minute because, some things are important, like our people. Lisa says, "Hey, Jermaine, we will be Super Bowl 60 champs. I just know it." She's like, in our 30th year, we are getting a third Super Bowl. I love it. You're speaking into existence. I am with you. Amen. Hallelujah. Wow. Let's go. This just says, "What's up, Couch Rider and crew?" Absolutely. We said, "What's up to everybody in the room, man? What's up with you?" Lisa says, "Happy birthday, Cam. Wherever you are, man, just go ahead and throw one back for us and say, happy birthday to yourself. Hopefully somebody's over there giving you a good beating." Let's see. Or maybe he took it out on himself at the gym today. So, of course, I like to get messy. So we're going to put this up here just for a second. But talk about our moment of controversy. Actually, you know what? Let me hold off for a second. There was something I needed to let y'all know because I put an announcement out on Twitter. We have a new logo. I have been working on this for, I'd say, about a week or so. And this is the older logo. If you look in my top left-hand corner, so basically right up here, right there is the newer logo. So most of you have seen the old logo. It's been all over. But the newer logo looks like this. So I tried to incorporate the couch still back into it. When I put it on Twitter, I was like, "Hey, how do y'all feel about the new logo change?" And I just put up the logo. And some people were like, "Yeah, we're on board. We love it." Got about 21 likes on it. And people just started liking. But then it was brought up by, I want to say, Big Reg. He was like, "Yeah, but the other logo speaks to your show." I was like, "Oh, so I'm missing the couch." And so he helped me get the couch on there. Oh, yeah. I appreciate you, man. He said, "That's fire, bro." Okay, so we'll be putting this on the merchandise. I believe links are down there underneath the video. We got cups, we got stickers, we got sports bras, we got, you name it, we got it. You can get you one of those shirts. I'll be getting one pretty soon here, but I just designed it this past weekend and put it on our shirt. So, take advantage, show your friends. This is a fun little franchise I've started, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon unless I get a job or become bishop. Some of those things happen to, play into this. But when I say get a job, I mean retire from the military and move on to the next opportunity. And yes, there's my bishop's leaving. So unless that happens, I ain't going nowhere. I still think I'll still hold the show. Just if I'm a counselor still again, same role. Cool. I'll still do what I do. All right, so let's keep the party going. Lisa likes the logo. Awesome. All right, let's get into it. Let's get messy. Moment of controversy, folks. This is it. This is the one. I believe this is the one that probably starts fights in homes. Before you leave the house, about your whole wardrobe. Socks and sandals. Is it a bad thing? Is it a bad thing to have socks with sandals? Some people say yeah. Some people say no. I mean, I'm not crazy judgy about it. Sometimes I feel like, oh man, why are you wearing them socks with them shoes? But it's like particular slides. Like if it's those Nike slides, then I think socks and sandals should be appropriate. But there's other shoes. If it's a thong shoe, I don't think you should have socks with them joints. But I mean, maybe that's different cultures. Maybe some people are with it. I don't know. And then of course, people think that socks and sandals are shoes. Now, that's a different debate in itself. But I'm curious to hear about your thoughts on socks and sandals. And I think we're having an issue with one of our streaming channels, but we'll work on that another time. We'll just stick with our YouTube and our Twitter. For those people on the We Are the Ravens flock, Brooke, if you can get this out to them, we're not going to be able to stream live tonight. We're having some technical difficulties, but appreciate y'all being here. Socks and sandals is the topic, folks. What are your thoughts on socks and sandals? Is it a bad thing or is it a good thing? Like right now, if I was to go out of the house and let's say go to the mall, me and the boys, if I had socks and sandals on, would I be judged heavily? No matter if it's slide, tongs, whatever. Am I going to be judged based on having these socks and sandals? Think about it. Are you let the claw hoppers hang out type of person? Or are you just trying to hide, your nasty feet with the socks? I mean, it's just understandable. This is a moment of truth here. You can speak to me on this piece. All right, here we go. Comments. Delicious says, probably so, as far as they're probably getting clowned about the socks and sandals. Yes. You have to recognize that there's a dress code and you kind of go with the flow. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not gonna go out here and wear skinny jeans. Everybody's wearing skinny jeans. No, it's just not my thing. I like to be able to breathe in my pants. I got to be able to breathe. That's another different story there. Lisa says, let your feet breathe, no socks. Okay. Yeah. So I that should probably bring up a good topic for next week's. I mean, since we talking about socks anyway, I feel like we should just go ahead and involve this. Socks and tennis shoes. This is one of those ones that I did. I feel special. I feel very. I get an uproar about it. I'll be honest with you. Like people who don't wear socks with shoes, it's disgusting, bro. Like you come to my house, you take your shoes off, and you ain't got nothing on. You roll around barefooted after you've been sweating in these shoes. And we getting on to my kids about it all the time. Like, look, you got to have good foot hygiene. Because when they take off their shoes, you hit that invisible wall. You're like, trying to do the matrix. Because it's just that bad. All right, Delicious says, not gonna lie, I be wanting to wear some sandals badly, but I don't want to be played with. You got them claw hoppers out there, man. Like I'll wear some sandals. Ain't no shame in my game. Look, I've had a 5th digit arthroplasty surgery for my hammer toe. They ain't the prettiest things, but them dogs gonna be out. They're gonna be out there. Guys, child was good. Hey, he said, happy birthday, my May 19th brother. There you go. Happy birthday to you as well, man. Y'all give God's child some love. God's child, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Smack the bell, man. We appreciate you being here. Brooke is here. Brooke, hey, just so you know, Brooke, we got an issue on the channel. I don't know if you can just put an announcement out on the page on the Wheeler Ravens flock. Something's going on with the streaming capability. I was able to do it last week. Can't do it this week. I don't know why, but I'll make sure I do a better job of setting it up next time so we have a few more people in the room. But yeah, go ahead and put that announcement out. Appreciate you. You know you late. Cameron is not going to be here because he's going to be late because he's out partying. But go ahead and tell him happy birthday. He gets a pass, Brooke. You can't fire him on his day off. You can't fire him on his birthday. Although you might be like, I'm gonna pull up anyway. All right, so now that we got messy, we talked about the sandals, and let's go ahead and get down into it. Let's talk about the 5 most anticipated Ravens matchups of 2025. Number 5. Like, this one should be obvious. That's why I put it at the top of the list, whatever. It's just how we kick the season off. What are we doing on Sunday Night Football against the Bills after getting taken out again in the divisional round? I know what I'm doing. I'm not watching this game at Roger Sparks' house, just so you know. So Roger's one of my good friends. Basically, he's like family to us. But every time I have watched the Bills versus the Ravens at his house, we lose. You know, and I'm just like, man, hold up. I watched the last divisional at his house. We lost. I watched this one at his house. We lost. I ain't doing it tonight. I ain't doing it on Sunday Night Football, folks. I will not be there. Family dinner is going to be cut very short. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about this game because, look, Derrick Henry just signed his contract. He mentioned it already. He said he is looking for a sort of a revenge type game. He's looking for a good start to the season. And, well, we know it's not really a revenge. The only revenge we can get really is another divisional game where we get our lick back. Man, I'm telling you, I'm sick of. Anyway, but we need that last memory of the Ravens, that last bitter taste out of our mouth. And we can do that by stomping a mud hole in them, giving them another 38-6 game that we desperately need to show out and show up. And we can give them the lasting memory of the Ravens in their stadium with us knocking the doors off the joint because they're moving their stadium to another spot. So this will be the last time that they are in the Bills, what is it? I can't remember the name of the stadium. Highmark Stadium. It's the last time they'll be in Highmark Stadium. So, but it's like, you know, it's very, as strong as this Ravens team is, as great as they are, as bad as we beat them during the regular season last year, we are still the underdogs by 1.5 points. They think that this is going to be a high scoring affair too. They're thinking 51.5 is the over under right now. It's madness. I can tell you Baltimore is ready to show up. And the matchups that they have to beat right now, the ones we want to see, it's going to be Khalil Shakir versus Marlon Humphrey. That's one of the matchups that we definitely want to see. We cannot wait to see this shifty young wide receiver here who he doesn't get quite the credit that he deserves, but Marlo's still got a lot of talent and still great in the slot. So that's going to be a good matchup. Then you got to see Trent Simpson. You know, he is the entrenched starter right now. They're saying, hey, this guy's got it unless he loses it during camp and in preseason. So seeing him against a tight end, because we know he's got the speed, he's got the athleticism. He just got to put it together. He's got to have that awareness in order to be able to take on guys like Dawson Knox. But I will pause for a second because I love your opinions. I am here for you. All right. Big Reg is here. He says, what's up, everybody? Delicious says, they getting the business. Lisa says, stop it, Wilbert. Don't start your shenanigans. When did Wilbert's here? Oh, here he is. The matchup that everybody wants to see, Baker versus Browns. And what? No, absolutely. What? Sir, this is your personal dream lullaby matchup there. That will put the world to sleep, you know, because ain't nobody who gonna be the quarterback of the Browns. First of all, are you with Shadur, or are you with Dylan Gabriel, or are you with Joe Flacco, or are you with Kenny Pickett? Can you let us know who's your guy? Because we don't know. There's 5 different guys right there. Are you gonna have 5 different guys on the roster when the season starts? I mean, personally, I'm my money's on Dylan. I'm on Dylan Gabriel bandwagon right now. And I know I love me some Joe, but Honestly, if they were going with the seasoned vet, then I'd say, okay, go with Joe. But if they were letting these guys compete, like full on compete, best one rise to the top. I mean, Dylan Gabriel or Deshaun. I think Deshaun might could have that resurgence and try to prove to the world that he is still a talented quarterback, although in Cleveland it has not shown that much. I think when you're getting shown up by the second string quarterback and the fans are booing you because of an injury, yeah, you're having a rough day or having a rough career back end of the career anyway. All right, everybody saying what's up. Whoever says hello, Miss Lisa, long time. Hope you are doing well. And like you just king of trolls, king of the trolls here. Lisa says, the Bears will lose against us Ravens. Yes. Now I think when it comes to the Bears, this is a team that I'll be honest, I was a big fan of Justin Fields. I thought that they should have continued to build around him. But when you go look at the overall record of the Bears, it's just not. It's not there, or at least Fields' record with the Bears or what the win-loss column. You could see why they had to go in a different direction. So I could see where they're going, but I thought this guy had a lot of potential, and that's what the Jets see right now. So we'll see what that's going to be about on the roster, or it's going to be on the schedule as well. And Bruce said Kenny might as well go home because they ain't got no quarterback either. All right. Whoever says Sanders QB1, you just want Dylan because you want to sweep us. Yes. Actually, I would prefer Kenny Pickett if we wanted to sweep you. We would just go ahead and beat him. Now, of course, him with the Steelers is a different story. But him with the Browns, I think we got a really good shot of beating Kenny Pickett with the Browns. Now, as far as making them a competitive team, I'm honestly thinking Dylan Gabriel is the guy. Go watch his college tape. I mean, he tore apart Colorado after they talked all that trash. So, I mean, that is a 1v1 QB versus QB type situation. Of course, they're not facing each other, but they're facing those defenses. But Dylan Gabriel showed up, and Shadur was okay. But it's just one of those situations where I'm rooting for. I want Shadur to do good because I want him to earn the franchise job if he does get it. But I'm also seeing that they drafted Dylan Gabriel because they saw potential, and they drafted him before Shadur because they saw potential. This is going to be an exciting matchup to watch. But this ain't Browns TV. This is about the Ravens, folks. We talking about the Ravens tonight. Wherever you got me going off on a whole tangent here. I said I heard Dylan doesn't look good so far. Now it's just mixed reports. You'll hear mixed reports from different beat writers. One will say Shadur, the other one say Dylan. Somebody might even come out and say Joe. All right, I think Flacco gives him the best chance. Okay. All right. Shadur signed his rookie deal, 4 years, 4.6 mil. Yeah, he thinks he was shorted, but whatever. All right. So anyway, we're back to the Bills. So those matchups we want to see, like I said, Khalil Shakir versus Marlowe. Marlowe probably might have lost a step or something like that, but he still has that ability in that slot. And if we play with the two high safety, and more likely a third high, we just got to figure out who that third high guy is. Then, or a three safety set, then it allows certain creativity for our guys to do what they want to do, to move around. I'm curious how they're going to be moved around. All right. So we got Zay versus Maxwell Hairston. Now, I preached about this guy during the offseason. I wanted him to be a Raven. He's one of the fastest corners out there, and you can see he has a ball hawk mentality. So Lamar is going to have to watch out because Maxwell will jump some stuff. Now, the problem with that is if you get the jumping things, you're going to miss big plays if the Lamar decides to pump fake. So, or if he decides to reestablish the pocket just as somebody's running a chair route, which could confuse some things. It could draw a wide receiver, draw a corner in while wide receivers pushing up the field. So Maxwell could have those type of problems. Zay, we're hoping he's fully healthy, ready to rock, and be twitchy as all get out. The next matchup is King Henry versus the Bills' two high safeties. Now, they proved that they could beat us with two high and stop King Henry during the playoffs. What we're hoping is that they come out with that similar stuff again because we know Todd Monken ain't going to come back and run that same stuff again when he knows he has home run plays that work against his team. And then I think the final piece is Lamar versus the Bills secondary. Of course, we can talk about Josh Allen, but Lamar versus this secondary. Like, we've seen Lamar play mistake-free football the whole season. And then we see major mistakes in the playoffs. And I don't want to be just like the ESPN reporters, but I am saying like, hey, this is that interception that he threw. It was like it didn't make sense. It was just a toss up. It wasn't Lamar's like style play. He came, of course, he came back in the second half, did his thing, but that interception, it did not determine the course of the game, but that could have been a scoring drive for the Baltimore Ravens if he did not throw that up like it was a prayer. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Lisa says, I'm friends with LJ on Facebook. So that dude that claims he's LJ on Facebook isn't LJ, Lisa. I'm sorry. It just, he tries to put on the good front, but that's not the guy. He's on the We Are the Ravens flock trying to comment on there too, so just be careful. Let's see. Delicious says, Bills definitely beefed up their D-line. Yeah, they did. And I think, a lot of people, this is a copycat league. They saw exactly how the Chiefs were beat, and it was because people focused on the D line. And I think our D line is going to be okay. I mean, we got Broderick Washington, but we got some dogs back there who can step up and play. I know that we're talking about replacing Pierce, and we did that with the signing of a former Raider. But I mean, this D line is going to be decent. I know that we wanted some major additions on there, but there's some guys that are going to compete from the undrafted free agents. And I think one of them was like 6'2", 325 pounds. That was a full-on beast out there. So I have to look that one up in a second, but we'll get into it. We'll get into the next game. Excuse me. I'll read a few more comments for y'all before we roll on. Delicious laughing about something. I can't remember which one. Said Bills took like 3 defensive tackles. Yeah. So thanks for the heads up. Yeah, definitely look out. So you believe Travis Jones is going to have a great year? Yeah. I mean, we got Matt BK. We got Travis Jones. We got Broderick Washington. We got some guys, folks. We just need a little bit more depth. We fine. There's a reason those guys got paid. Or see me, 2 of those got paid. But Trav Jones is going to step up major this year. We saw him what he was able to do in the preseason 2 years ago, and it was fantastic. It was like, hey, this dude was busting through like he was the Kool-Aid man. And you just saw strength. You saw athleticism. He was just disrupting pockets. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Like for him to step up to that next level. Let's move on to the next game. So the number 4 matchup in my mind is going to be another kind of obvious one. It's the Lions versus the Ravens in week 3 on Monday Night Football. Did y'all know that we've only hosted like 5 Ravens games on Monday Night Football since John Harbaugh came in? Like, it's insane. So that's thing since 2008, only hosted 5 Monday Night Football games. So the Ravens, we whooped them. We whooped them pretty bad in 2023, and we're gonna see some new offensive and defense coordinators. So that is like the element of surprise right there. What are we going to be seeing against Detroit Lions that just have a flashy offense? Their defensive line is pretty solid. They're coming back off of injuries. This could be one heck of a matchup early in the year. I don't think that our schedule was fairly balanced out because we are facing some beasts weeks 1 through 5. It is insane. I think 3, 4, and 5 are just some really just out of this world playing teams. We got to give them their love. We got to give them their respect. And the Lions is one of those teams. I know Lamar has a very minimal loss record. I think he's only lost 2 games to the NFC. But you can't come in here thinking we're going to just dog this team. Even though Lamar has gotten them a couple of times. We've embarrassed them the last time. Justin Tucker took care of business the time before that, after Lamar got off one miraculous play to set up NFL history. And, I know y'all want me talking about Tuck on here, and I know that brings up a whole nother issue, but we need more than just a game-winning kick against the Detroit Lions. We full-on beat the mess out of them the last time, but we want more convincing wins against dominant teams to let the league know this is what we are here to do. We're here to catch momentum and to, we're here to beat somebody down. Trying to skull drag somebody. Delicious says, I believe Travis Jones is going to have a great year. I think he said Brody needs to step up. Absolutely. And then that's going to be tough. I don't want to sound like a homer, but I think we beat them. I think it's going to be one heck of a matchup. So we have to figure out, like, are we still a hardcore run stopping team? And I believe as long as we got Roquan right there, we will be. But he's going to need to get in sync, or Trent Smith is going to, Trent Simpson needs to get in sync with Roquan, and that's what's going to help us with that run stop, especially what we do on that defensive line. But I feel like if we can stop these beast running backs from the Detroit Lions from getting those +5, +10 yard gains, they got some dogs. But we can make some stops there. We can make some things happen. Of course, the wide receivers are nothing to joke about. They're nothing to spat at. But our secondary is going to be pretty beast, and I am wondering how those matchups are going to turn out. I still think that Awuzie is our weak link, but I think everything else on that secondary is fairly strong. Even with our Darius Washington going down, we still got solid. We got 2 solid safeties up there, and these other guys, they're going to step up. Samsu Kane is going to step up. Obrey is going to step up. You got to better believe that these guys are ready to hit. You can go back and watch the tape on these guys. They are ready to rock. They're ready to hit. They're ready to compete. Lisa says, show Pat Ricard some love this season because he's one of my favorite players. As long as they're not handing the ball off to him and he's creating holes, I'm all for it. Bring it. Delicious says, Lions defense doesn't really scare me, but that offense is something else. Yes, the offense. Yeah. And the thing is what's weird is that whole trade and how it went down. Yes, it panned out well for the Rams, but they still traded like everything to get Stafford, and they got rid of their guy who got into a Super Bowl, and he's still a very high caliber player in Jared Goff. It's craziness. Big fan of Jahmyr Gibbs. I think so as well. This is a twitchy he's a twitchy guy who just does not give up after contact. And I think him and Montgomery, they were a great 1-2 punch last year. Is Dave Montgomery still there? I gotta check that. Because they just had a really good 1-2 punch between the two of them. Checking it right now. Dave Montgomery is still there. Those two are a major problem. The Ravens defensive line is going to need to step up big time in order to stop them. It could be his top 5 running backs. He's so nice. Yeah. So make sure you take a flyer on him in fantasy football. Gibbs is that dude. Moving on to the next game. I could try to hold y'all on today. Thanksgiving, folks. Everybody going to have that salmonella? Or is it tryptophan? Sorry. Tryptophan, not salmonella. Please, no salmonella. Yeah, tryptophan from the turkey. But we need you to go ahead and stay up because Bengals, Ravens on Thanksgiving. It's going to be one heck of a game. And, of course, it's going to be a shootout because we can't really stop Chase. We can slow him, but we can't stop him. And I think, as strong as our secondary is, there's still this guy just finds a way to show up against the Baltimore Ravens. But Lamar shows up. He shows up big against the Cincinnati Bengals. He basically has ownership of that organization. I'm hoping that ownership still continues this season. We want that to go down. And then, of course, so if we're looking at that particular matchup, the defense of the Bengals, they went into the draft. They got some decent guys. Of course, they spent the majority of their offensive weapons, 2 of them, namely. I mean, honestly, I think you shouldn't be paying a guy $40 million a year, but that's just me. I think one guy's getting paid 26, the other one's getting paid 40. And so Higgins with the 26, and then Jamar with the 40 mil. That is insane for a wide receiver to be making. But I said it before the draft when he was drafted. I wanted to be in Eric DeCosta's ear saying, hey, trade up and get this guy because he is that dude. And he ended up being that dude just for the wrong team. I hate rooting for LSU Tigers that belong to the Bengals. I'm a big LSU fan. I've always been a big LSU fan. But seeing 2 Tigers over there that I had a lot of love for now over there giving us heck every year, that's crazy. All right, here we go. Lisha says, man, I'm nervous about this game. We need to do whatever Mike McDonald did in 2023. He held them in check. And that's the thing. Zach Orr, after week 10, shows up, did his thing pretty nice, but this is just a Bengals offense that, they just have an exceptional offense over there. But as long as we can do our thing and compete and still score with them, I'm looking forward to watching that game, eating some ribs and whatnot. I think the Bengals on paper had the worst draft this year. The worst? Okay. I think maybe that's something we take a look at. I thought for sure they picked up some good defensive pieces. All right, delicious. Big Red says going to do all that fighting this season just for John to lose in the playoffs. You are so optimistic, extremely optimistic. I think the Ravens. This is the year. I think Lisa said it best. This is the year we go all the way. I think this is the year that Andrews locks in the playoffs. I think this is the year that we have a healthy Zay and goes off nuts. I think we have good reserves because there's going to be a lot of competition for that fifth and sixth slot for the Baltimore Ravens wide receiver core that's going to bring us deeper in through the regular season and into the playoffs so that Zay doesn't get overused. Last thing I want to see is Zay Flowers with 10 targets a game when we go ahead and spread the workload. But like I said, I think Mark Andrews, he felt the pain from last year. He felt the hate from this past season, and I think he's using that as fuel. This is one of those guys who, once he turns on, he turns all the way up. Go look at him against the Colts. I think it was in 2023 when Lamar was tearing it loose. Majority of those catches was Mark Andrews. 11 touchdowns last year. He had one drop, and I think Ravens fight just kind of gave up on him. Wanted to see him traded, wanted to see him cut. This guy is still him. He's still got a great deal of talent. Honestly, in my eyes, he's still the top 3 tight end in this league. You still have to respect Andrews out on that field. All right, Delicious says they really didn't get anybody impactful on defense concerning the Bengals. Shamar in about 2 or 3 years might be good, but next year, no. I was thinking Shamar might be good next year, but All right, so he says everybody been saying it's the year since 2019. I feel like I'm the Dallas Cowboys. This is the year. This is the year. Bring it in. This is the year, man. We going. Mark deserves better. And so go look at Andrew's playoff stats and tell me he top 3. Oh, that was a gut punch. That hurt, bro. That hurt. Why you got to bring that up, man? Regular season, this dude's on it. We just got to get him to not be Tony Romo. Just bring the business to the playoffs, folks. That's what we need. That talent level's got to step up once we get there. And I think they can. I think they truly can. I think Lamar's got to realize, all right, there's more than just those 2 targets out there in the playoffs, because that sometimes hinders us because people watch tape. And they watch enough tape, they recognize 2 of the guys that the targets go to is Andrews and Zay Flowers. Now, if Zay Flowers is hurt, then of course that creates a huge wrench in the operation. I think that's kind of what happened against the Bills. They recognize, like, if Zay's out, who else is he going to? And of course, in the deep shots, we're going to Rashad. Red zone, Rashad. But, Andrews is like the primary target, and playoff teams know that. They sniff it out the whole season. They're like, all right, what happens if we take this guy out of the equation? What if we make this guy a non-factor? What if we get him to mess up? That totally turns the tide of the game, and it did against the Bills. Still had a chance, though. We had a chance. All right, we are on to matchup number 2 after I read this last comment here. One thing that doesn't get mentioned enough is how Mark Andrews for years was our only threat in the pass game. LOL, if he's the only guy out there, of course, it's going to be easy to key on him. Amen, brother. Amen. I said Mark had his best playoff game last year, and he still had 2 drops and a fumble. You so hurtful. You just hurt. You just want to come over here and have it stick to our ribs right now, man. I'm not about crying tonight, man. I ain't gonna be a crying tonight, man. Go here just clown. All right, we're gonna roll through, and we are going over to our next game. This is one. Well, it's gonna be October 5th, but I'm pretty sure they're hungry because we really did do them wrong on Christmas. I don't know what it is about Christmas, because 49ers came out on Christmas and they got dog walked. And then the Texans came out there and they got the best of Lamar Jackson that game because he was ready to show up and show out. Over here running 50-yard touchdowns on a whim, just looking like he in slow motion, and they can't catch up with the guy. And he said he wasn't even going full speed. We got defensive coordinators over here running, jumping on players, falling down all miserably, but it was one heck of a Christmas game. I think the Texans, they're fed up with the Ravens. And I'll tell you why. Because they are 0-6 against the Ravens since 2017. They haven't scored a touchdown against the Ravens since DeMeco Ryans became coach. Since he became the coach, they haven't scored a touchdown on the Ravens. That's insane. And this is a roster that's continually to get better. Stingley is getting better every year as a corner. We got Nico Collins back there. Or they do. They got dogs at wide receiver. They continue to build. I think they the ones had a solid draft. They had a ton of picks, and they kept just bringing star after star after star and building. It was a very impressive draft for them. This is a team that has gotten outscored 90-21 in the last 3 meetings. Message. They're not going to sit down and let us have this one. They're not going to let us have this one. We're going to come in. We got to brawl. We got to win this. We got to act like we haven't been there before. And we got to take this one, folks. We do know that the Texans are not to be trifled with. We know C.J. Stroud. We recognize the talent level this guy has, the arm strength. He is a solid AFC South champion. I don't see anybody else beating the AFC South champion, Houston Texans. Colts ain't got it in them. Jags, they ain't sure, though. Tennessee, who? I'm sorry. Yeah, you got the number 1 overall pick, but that was for a reason because y'all sucked that bad. You think Cam going to turn it around for him? Is he going to turn around that good for him? I don't know. But right now, looking at AFC South, Houston Texans versus the Ravens, it's going to be one heck of a matchup. But at the same time, they be playing chumps all season. So they ain't going to know what's going to happen when they run into a real one. But that is week 5 for us. So, like I said, we facing the gauntlet. And, of course, the final game is the let's get our lick back eventually game that probably is going to get flexed to Monday Night Football because nobody wants to see the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. I'm sorry. I know that America, it's supposed to be America's team versus this Jordan Love, supposed to be some magical Sunday night matchup or whatever. Nobody wants to see that. You want to see Chiefs. You want to see Ravens. You want to see Lamar versus Patty, not Dak versus Jordan Love. Sorry. It's truth. It probably hurts some Cowboy fans out there. I don't care. Y'all might beat them boys, but y'all going to be on the couch because you probably going to get this 3:15 game instead of having the Sunday Night Football because that's coming to us. We're getting flex, folks. We flexing on them. All right. So y'all know what it is about this particular game. We lost the game by a toe. By a toe. I was in the audience. It was heartbreaking. I'm sitting here cheering, thinking we got the touchdown. I'm high-fiving. I'm all up in some Chiefs fans' face. He's like right here. I'm just all in his face, just talking the trash. And it's just, I got the whole fans going, oh. It was bad. And then the refs come back and they rule it incomplete. And you just see fireworks go off and the Chiefs start beating the stands and having an amazing time. It was a long drive home because I had one of the worst trash talkers in the world in my car. So it was a long ride home, or at least back to the Airbnb. But it was a good time. I had a good time out there. It was great seeing Lamar live. It just, our defense coordinator sucked at the time, and John Harbaugh definitely was making a lot of excuses for him, and it was just really bad. This year, hopefully those growing pains are over, and hopefully we're able to take it to those Chiefs and take them out to the woodshed like the Eagles did in the Super Bowl. Would love to see that, but also I need it flexed on Monday Night Football because it doesn't need to be an afternoon game. It should be primetime TV because that's where the world needs to see Lamar beat Patty. Because Patty been whooping on Lamar for most of his career, for all of his career, except for one game. Lamar is 1-6, I think. It's time. It is time to take down Patty and put him down. And of course, the matchups, y'all see it. Hollywood Brown is going to be on the other side. He's going to look to show up. The rest of the wide receivers probably all going to jail. Let's just call it what it is. Assault with a car, fighting in a nightclub, strangulation. All of them going to jail. So hopefully, by the time week 4 comes around, we'll be facing some scrubs in Hollywood Brown. It'd be great. So week 7's our bye week. Okay. Going back. Still trying to catch up with y'all saying here. Texas are going down in the blowout. Cool. I'm with you. Alicia says, I might be overlooking the Texans, but I don't see this being any other way. Straight belt to butt. Texans O-line is suspect in my opinion. Okay. I said the Ravens tend to do the opposite of what I say, so I love them. I'll say they are going to lose the Super Bowl. You hateful son. I know you're trying to do opposites, whatever, but yes, I see what you did there. Delicious says, definitely have wide receivers on wide receivers. Yes, they do. And then week 7 is our bye week. Brother-in-law is a Cowboys fan. My family has so many daggone Cowboys. And my father-in-law is a Cowboys fan. My brother-in-law is a Cowboys fan. My brother was a Cowboys fan. He became a Carolina Panthers fan. I don't know. He just decided to go from worse to worse. My stepfather is a Cowboys fan. My younger sister is a Cowboys fan. And unfortunately, I used to be a Cowboys fan until 1999. There's a story behind that, but I ain't telling it tonight. I think y'all have seen it on the show a few times. But, yeah, thank goodness I was saved. I seen the light. Came over to the black and purple. Let's see. The one time we beat Pat, I was at the game. Let's go. Yeah, I need you to be at this game then, man. I need you to be at the game. So I'm still debating. Depending on job and church responsibilities, I'm thinking about going to the game because it's just down the road. I'm in Nebraska. It's 2.5 hours away. I think I want to see this game. I want to see it in person again because I was there last year. And I think I'll drag my son out there again. Hopefully, I can break his heart and tease him all the way around, all the way home. It'd be great. So Chiefs got to take an L. They do for one. Amen. So I do want to see this duo with CD and Pickens. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that would be – that is a fun a matchup. But at the same time, like I said, they're going to be fighting in the showers by week 3. It is what it is. These are two Pickens is a competitive guy who makes business decisions, who's more about himself, extremely selfish. And I think that you're going to see that competitor come out in CD, who's probably going to be like, hey, you got to feed me and then not feed this scrub over here. And Pickens will be like, I'm that dude. They need to feed me too. So it's going to be something to see. There was something I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I need to upload this real quick. But you guys put your comments in there. Let me know what you think about this final Chiefs and Ravens matchup as being the number 1. And I'll go ahead and upload this one asset I'm looking for. I know I saved it. There it is. All right, so I wanted to talk about a guy that we picked up as far as the last thing I wanted to talk about. Ravens, of course, we always talk about how's our outside linebacking core. Do we have enough dogs? Should we pick up this guy? Should we pick up that guy? And I know a lot of people were fussing because they wanted to sign another old dog. I've been trying to turn this into the Golden Girls for a long time. But I think this guy was an exceptional second-team All-Pro for the ACC, and he's special. He's special. He's got experience. This is a 4-year starter. Yeah, I'll be like, oh, who is he talking about? Who is he talking about? This guy right here, Kyman Rucker. He may be undersized, but it's not that bad. He's 6'1", 254 pounds. Comes out of North Carolina. Let me just tell you about his 2024 and then 2023 season. So his 2024 season, this guy had 30 tackles, 8 tackles for loss. He had 6 sacks, and he only played 8 games due to injury. So that's the downside. But he's referred to as the Butcher. He's referred to as the Butcher. Any guy that's referred to as the Butcher probably needs a shout out. Probably needs to come into camp and get an opportunity. Probably needs to be able to make this team so we can see why Kyman Rucker is that guy. So, of course, when I seen him, he's got great bend. He is a talented individual that, look, coming in here and being on the other side of Oway and Green, this is just going to add to what we currently have already. We got dogs, we got KVN, but you add Common Record there to Adisa Isaac, hopefully a resurgent David Ajabo, a healthy one, Adafe Oway. We going to be straight, folks. We're going to be straight. And let me tell you about this 2023 season. This dude had 60 pressures, 8 sacks, 40 tackles, 36 run stops, and 2 forced fumbles. So he had 8 sacks, folks, that season. These sacks don't come easy. They don't come easy at all. So he's a good rotational player. This is somebody who has a nasty first step. He's got active hands. Could he be better? Yeah, he'd be better, because if it was a lot better, he would have been better or rised up in the rounds for the draft. But this is the guy who has a motor, who plays to the whistle. He's got low center of gravity. He plays lows to the ground and gets that good dip on the shoulder. He's explosive. But he's one of those guys that he may be a down south Georgia boy. He didn't go to Georgia, but I'm saying he's a down south Georgia boy who will hustle. He will hustle for you. He's got that nasty first step. It comes at sharp angles, not sharp, not this. Yeah, sharp angles. He's got good long speed. So if you're looking at a guy who can make up for a mistake, if he happens to leave a gap in the line when it comes to the run, he can probably come back and close and make sure it's not a home run touchdown. But like I said, second team All ACC honors. I'm excited. I cannot wait to see all of these undrafted free agents. I love rooting for underdogs. I know that. When in the past I was rooting for James Prochet. I'm rooting for little guys from Mississippi. I can't remember, Dayton Wade. I'll be rooting for him. There's some safeties I want to root for that are underdogs. I'm excited about what camp is going to bring, because we got guys that are going to be hungry, ready to compete, and looking to make their name as one of those undrafted free agents that makes this roster. It's going to be special, and I think Kyman is going to be one of those. Delicious says, if they can be on the same page, Cowboys might do something this season. I think they will do something. I mean, right now, I don't know. That East is beast. The NFC East is going to be something to be reckoned with. I'm not talking because it's dangerous in there. No, I'm talking about the Washington Commanders and, of course, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Those are two dogs that are proven this past season that, hey, they can come in there and they can wreck shop. Dallas, of course, is still they have firepower. They've always had star power. It's just putting it all together. Excuse me. Can they put something together for an entire season? Lisa says, how will the baby Ravens do this season? Mike Green wearing 45, Jalen Ferguson's jersey. Yeah. And I know I didn't even think about that. But, I think he's going to make that 45 his own. It's going to be special. I think Mike Green, it's going to be the second coming to Terrell Suggs. I'm just going to call it right now. He's got the talent. He can be special. Like I said, he's just one of those cats who got overlooked because of some things in the past that I guess sounds like they got cleared up. So I'm hoping they stay clear and he can come out and ball for the Ravens, because we got to steal, folks. Between him and Malachi on the field at the same time with Kyle Hamilton. Oh, man. Nate Wiggins, this defense going to be it's absolutely solid. I can't wait till week 1. We just sit there and just trounce these Bills. It's going to be magical. It's going to be so magical. Oh, well. So we sitting there 49 minutes. I think it's time we call it a night. But I just heard a yes from my daughter in the room. So she's excited because she gets to go to bed and not hear me going off for too long. So, but I appreciate y'all coming through. Hope you like the logos. Hey, if you want, you can go ahead and purchase one of those shirts and like I said, sport it. Go ahead and be part of the brand because I'm about to get me one. I'm about to get me something for my mug here. You know, I got all this like blank space here. Of course, I got the truth on the side here, but you know, I got all this blank space. So make sure, but put me a nice little logo on there for the new Couch Rider Raven logo. You want a piece of that? Go ahead and go to the site. It should be in the comments. It should be below the comments. You should see some t-shirts and stuff, man. Check that out. Make sure y'all hit the like button, hit subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. Appreciate y'all coming through, man. I constantly just love the community here, and y'all constantly got me falling off the couch for you. So tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your kids. Thanks for tuning into the home of Original Sports Perspective. Mark Couch to yours. It's your host, your Couch Rider Raven, saying 2 claps. Fade to black.
Introducing the Couch Rider Raven Report. Let's go. Ravens, Raven, Raven, Couch Rider. Raven, Raven, hey, Raven. We gon' ride out. Raven, 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 Couch Rider. Raven, hey, Raven. We gon' ride out.
For some of you Twitter gangsters, this is just a hobby, original sports perspective. You can't stop me. Couch Rider Report, it's reflective. Please respect it. You will get checked, and your knowledge will be tested. I ain't the coldest Raven, but this is my show. Shout out to the Barry White rap for the beat, though.